first. I'm sure most of you will probably remember this one from Johnny Alpha. This is the Battle of Hoth. Now, we've seen and toured many themed plots that have relation to either movies, television shows, books, all sorts of things, covering games, like we've seen Mario and World of Warcraft and BioShock and Terry Pratchett books and shows like Gravity Falls and NCIS. I've seen Star Wars and Star Trek and just tons and tons of plots that have been designed based off of something that already exists. And it's always been amazing how people can translate something that most of us are familiar with into something that's recognizable in this world, this WildStar setting. To be able to create something that, hey, I know what that is, and think about all the parts that they used, the cleverness and being able to utilize certain things to either bring about certain effects or certain appearances. It's always amazed me. It's like working with Legos. You have a box of Legos and they say, here, build a robot, and I can't imagine putting them together. And it's always fun to see how people translate known things into a WildStar setting like this. So Star Wars is a very popular one. We've seen Tatooine, we've seen the Hoth one. There's been several that have done variations of these AT-ATs. Some are a little bit more complicated than others, but this is probably one of the plots that comes to mind for me when I'm thinking of that kind of thing. As it covers the full plot. That's another thing I wanted to look for the plots that I showed off today. I wanted plots that not only really use to the fullest their decor allotment on the exterior, but also the interior. There's a lot of plots that we've come across that I'm just flabbergasted at what they create, but sometimes they don't really concentrate, or maybe they leave the bunker empty or something like that. So I kind of steered from those places. But this one is obviously a battle scene for when they, I guess, come upon the rebellion's little outpost here. So we see lots of different, I don't know the names of these things. I know these are like the AT-ATs, but I don't know what the little ones are called. Do you know what they call, Bones? I'm not sure. They probably have a special name, but I like how, again, just the use of the items. I never would have thought to use the chests and things and the tech arms, especially for the joints of the legs. It works perfectly. It's like, well, duh, that's that's a given. But if someone had said, what pieces do you think you would use for something like this, I probably never would have thought about that. But you can see the tech arms, the chests, the airtight containers, and of course the domes. There's even the gear lamp there, some of the red moon vents. The sparking wires have been used prevalently through this one for the firing of the weapons, both on the mechanical bits and the spacecraft. Later, we started seeing a lot of folks using some of the animated fireworks for a lot of that, like guns or lasers shooting. But the sparking wires are pretty handy, and they're a lot easier to get a hold of for those that didn't access the Starfall event. At ATST. Okay, thanks, Bones. Yeah, Google's our friend. Um, so that's the little guy. Then you have not only the intact AT-ATs, but you also have one that's been broken down, and it's kind of a way of getting you to be able to see what one looks like on the inside. So you can see he's talking to, I don't know, his commander, Darth Vader, who knows. Um, Again, great use of the welders, something I have yet to fiddle with myself. And of course, the flames. I don't know if this is one of the tracks or just some of the like braziers or something stuck down so that you just see the fire coming out. But I know a lot of folks like to put together like either crashed ships or damaged, maybe a meteor has come in and hit their plot and they want to show some kind of damage. And it's always interesting to see how someone works that out, because it's kind of like having that organized clutter. It's not the easiest thing to set up. I mean, you have to individually lay everything down. Like this here, having the leg kind of buckled here and torn apart where you see the sparking wires a little bigger, to make it look like it was actually a joint that's been broken up. That's not an easy thing to do. Same way with having an old ruins or a decrepit house that has things, cobwebs and broken windows and boarded up doors and things. It's not very easy to do. So I appreciate the effort when it comes to broken things like this. It's easy to build something and then just kind of replicate it, but then to kind of try to break it down like this, I'm sure that took a little while in planning. For the AT-ATs themselves, I think most of them are about the same. So you've got like I think it's vent tanks, the bottoms of them for the feet, some of those reinforced walls, the porthole windows, the wall-mounted generator, uh, multiples of those locked chests, um, Merc dynamite for parts of the guns, along with those sparking wires that we so love. Kind of hard to get a good look. It's probably why it's nice that they have the torn down one, because then you can kind of Darth Dominus. Yeah, that would be a good name. I do want to mention I do have some codes to give out today. I was planning on just going by whoever's chatting in the chat box, which so far is only Bones. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep track of who all drops by. I'm not really checking the chat list. I'm only going to be paying attention to who's chatting. And after the show, I'll do a little drawing, or if there's just a handful of folks that show up, then I'll just give them the codes without question, without any ceremony. These here, I'm not sure what these are called. It's the ones that, it's from the rebels, I think, and they shoot out the little ropes and try to trip up the AT-ATs. Uh, it's not the speeders. The speeders are the ones that float above the ground, right? But I still think it's clever. It's the cryopod, um, some hover part pieces for the front. You see some of those Osun emblems, Chua pillars. Looks like a couple of the those wind chimes, the rusty ones, and sparking wires, of course. Some pressure dividers. Looks like the wall-mounted generator again, the zap pistol, and it looks like this part here is part of the exile shelf. I've used it for like piano keys and stuff like that. Snow speeder. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I wonder why they call it snow speeder specifically. Do they not use it other than in winter? That seems kind of weird. Then we have a crashed one again. A little tricky to figure out what pieces to show broken, so they've got like some of the bracketry here sticking up. And of course adding the flames and smoke. I'm sure if they could have figured out a way to do some nice, some of those cables shooting out, they probably would have done that. I'm trying to see if there's one lower to the ground here. I don't see one, so I'll have to hop up on a little hill here. Well, maybe it's just a Hoth thing, I guess. Seems kind of weird they craft it just for that. Trying to get a better view here. But you can see, what are these called? Let me think. TIE fighters, I think. These here, for the Empire side, I guess. God, get up there. You can see it's mostly domes. I'm not sure what they're using for these. I want to say it's the red lanterns, but I'm not for positive on that. It kind of looks like it because you can see there's a little bit of red lighting. But I've also seen some use some of the turrets because they have those nice little lights on the ends. And of course, it looks like pillars for the bit here and then just some floors. And I think on the very front is another porthole window, if I remember right. Yeah, it looks like a porthole window here. Okay, then as we progress, we get closer to the base itself. I don't remember the names of these things, but it's mindful of the look. I mean, if you're at all familiar with the Star Wars films, I'm sure you'll recognize some of these features here using the Protostar platform thingies and the Dominion generators. Again, here they have the uh, cannons or whatever they are. It's the sparking wire. They've got uh, the wind chime, the gear lamp, and a cylinder. But then over here, you can see again they went through the effort of trying to make it look broken, as if it's been shot. So it's like lopsided and got bits hanging out of it and everything. So again, that's not the easiest thing to do. It sounds easy, and you probably think it would be, but it's not. Boardwalks for most of the pathways here, and just scattered NPCs and turrets and things for additional weaponry. Then you have the compound or the outpost. I don't know what it was actually called. The rebel base or something right here. I think this is a X-wing. I think it's the one where the wings like spread out as they go to fly. I want to say we'll see one up close inside, but you can see there's another one here. Now, as for the landscaping, I think most of it is snowy hills and then snow-covered rocks. Now, these ledges here, that looks like little plateaus or whatever, I think it's actually the bottom of some trees, snow-covered trees, or a snow-covered rock. I really don't think it's the rock because I think the rock itself would be stone on the bottom and just snow on the top. But if I remember right, one of the trees actually looks white on the bottom, if I recall rightly. And I think that's what this is for all of these little plateau thingies. The base itself is reinforced walls, Oran walls, some pillars, and then of course the metal dividers there. This thing I think is actually the bar tap that they're using for some piping. Yeah, here's one of the X-wings that's getting ready to be set loose. Hey, Flood. Gonna write down Mr. Floody. Again, I'm keeping track of who's chatting in the chat box, and I'll be drawing names if necessary at the end of the show, well, after the show, and we'll be sending out some codes to some of you. So if you're there and you are interested in possibly getting one of those codes, be sure and do say hello. The code itself is the ones I've given out in the past. It's the special edition decor, cozy decor pack or something. It's got like 30 pieces or so of Winterfest stuff, I think it was. Um, from sky remodels to gift bags and things like that. So if you missed out on Winterfest over the past couple of years, this is a good chance to get some of those goodies. We've got the little, I guess this is their planning room. Don't remember too much of this facility, so I don't know if there's a whole lot of detail that's similar or not. I know it was supposed to be like built into like some icy cavey thing or something. The last thing I want to show on this, of course, is the bunker house, which, if you remember the Hoth scenes, you will recall the what's it called? What's that beastie thing? I can't even remember. Uh, Shoot, I can't think of the name of it. But this is that creature's cave. So um, here's was it Luke Skywalker, where he's frozen up inside. He's got his little lightsaber stuck in the snow here, where he's trying to get it to come to him so he can zap himself out. Uh, but this little beauty, I don't know what this thing, some kind of beastie thing. It's made out of all of the WildStar plushies. I remember them asking advice on what they could possibly use to make this snow beast thingy. And I think considering the pieces that we had available at the time and the likeness that they were aiming for, I think they chose a really good item. It's not easy to work with trying to create Wampa, that's it. I was thinking was it Tauntaun or something, but that's those little llama looking things, isn't it? But you can see there's like just multiples of the Rousdower. Then there's I think this is the Chumbacambra skull, and of course using lots of the corpses. Um, Once the corpses became available, folks were really going crazy with caves and uh, dens of animals that had been, gnawing on creatures. The bones from Octera have been a very big favorite of those kind of little scenes like this because, yeah, it's just adds to it. Now the stalactites and stuff, or stalagmites, whichever it is, some of them are from the icicles, these blue ones here. These grayer ones, I believe, if I remember correctly, they said it was the ornate pillar. I think it's one of the Orin pieces, and it's got like a little metal part. I think that's what these are, and they've just used them here and there. It could be something else, but I want to say that's what I recall. But there are some glacier pieces that would probably work really great for that. But I want to say they're a different color. And of course, here's the frozen water. A lot of people like to use that in their refrigerators, bathrooms for dripping water, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's little details like this, with the little scene and things that those that appreciate the films will appreciate. the fandom that's going on here. So again, this may not be everyone's favorite example of uh, a real themed kind of plot. Again, we've seen many different versions of Star Wars. We've seen World of Warcraft, BioShock. I'm trying to think of some others that I didn't mention earlier. Um, I myself did Tangled once before. I know there's been a lot of fairy tale ones like Rapunzel and well, I guess that would be Tangled, but I think there was a few that did like Alice in Wonderland. I think that's been a big fave. Um, is there any of them that you guys can think of that I didn't mention already? Um, I know there's been a lot of space ones like I think Aliens and was it Prometheus and stuff like that. But I'm not as familiar with those as I would be like games and television and stuff. I know NCIS has been one. Discworld, Uberworld, yeah, I remember that one. There's just been so many, and it's always so clever to see how people bring those things and make them a reality in WildStar, considering the limitations that we have, and just Doctor Who, I think, has been another favorite, and like Frankenstein and stuff like that. We've seen a lot of like Frankenstein labs. But yeah, so this is one of my faves from the time that, when people say, oh, have you seen this or that? This is probably one of the plots that I immediately pops to mind because it's a familiar uh, theme. It was done really nicely. There's a lot of detail to it. Uh, and I like the idea of them having this fight scene in the middle. We don't have the ability to actually um, move the things that we want to have actually moving, like these spaceships. They're not animated in any way, but it's like a screen capture from the film. Okay, so the next one we're going to visit is Kithara's plot, called Thara Manor. The reason I picked this one is, again, I'm a huge fan of custom-built furnitures and decorations, buildings, anything that is either modified or completely constructed by the builder themselves has more interest to me than just nicely placing existing items as they come. That might sound snooty to some, especially beginner players that haven't really gotten into the experience of what we call custom building, or oh, there's other words for it, but that's the way I phrase it. Uh, because all of us began in the beginning. We'd get a couch and we'd use it as a couch, and we get a plate and we use it as a plate. But as you evolve, get more into it, and realize how you can mix and match and combine things, the plate no longer stays a plate. It generally becomes many other things. And same way with the couches and the chairs and the windows. And before you know it, you kind of feel obligated, I guess, or obsessed or possessed to be able to constantly come up with new combinations of items to create something different, something unique, something interesting. And uh, among the many themes that people can go for, mansions and personal residences is often a big draw, especially for role players that are looking to build background stories for their characters. They always have to have, their either their home or their hangout or their club or something like that. And for the individual backstory mansions or personal residences tend to be the fave. Sometimes they take it as far as creating like maybe a farm house or a community type of deal where there's lots of houses on the plot, or a town or city or village type of theme, to be able to include other members of their role-playing troupe, to have a small section of that plot as their own. We've seen that, and the collaborative works are great. Um, but I really love the detail of this one, and how they've managed to keep that not necessarily gloomy theme, but it's consistent throughout. I'm just kind of wandering aimlessly here, but I'm glad you know that name because I would have never remembered it. I'm bad with the names. Back here we have the graveyard that's set out behind the manor. You can see there's a lot of as-is things that they've just kind of organized and everything, but I like little details like this where they've added in the little markings on the headstones themselves using some of the exonite bits. This is probably one of my favorite exterior bits for this particular plot. The little gazebo back here. It's just next door to the graveyard, and you can kind of get an overall shot. There's, they're using fab kits. They've got the graveyard fab kit. They've got the hedges, the hedge maze, and then the smaller ones too. But they've blended it so nicely. It fits. A lot of times you'll come across a plot that maybe is a winter theme, and then they have this oddly placed, you know, low grav fab kit in the middle of nowhere and doesn't have access to anything special. So it kind of throws you off a little bit. I love it when builders can actually blend everything in that they use. There's a purpose, a reason why they've used it, so that it looks seamless. Um, but like, I love these little details with like the Hugel statues here. Just a couple of items, and then put together in a way that it looks really elegant and just suits the scene really well. Stones for this part here, using the trellises nicely. Those things are so clunky, and you wouldn't think they would work really well for this kind of a feature, but you can see they pulled it off really nice. I think some of these are it's not the Gothic pillars, but it's the ones that you can get. I think it's from the city. There's a vendor there that has them. Yeah, I love that gazebo. Just works really well. Of course, using the stones not only for the lifted part here, but also as part of the walkway. It's really nice and smooth. Notice they're using the bottoms of, I think it's the Galeras stone wall, as benches. And notice they carry a lot of the similar looks, like the little round rock bits for their uh, little tree surrounding stuff. They carry that throughout. You see that here in the back with the Hugels. See, now I know there was a lot. They've made the exterior of the land kind of almost swampy feeling. A lot of this is done with the tops of the um, thinker heads, I think. I want to say there's also probably the mossy trees. I don't know if they're using any of the Protostar Instahills. I think it's mostly Thinkerheads, just super oversized so you get a lot of that greenery. That's why some of this, my character will disappear into the green. And that's why you see these oversized mushrooms as well. But it was a nice way of doing the landscaping here. It helps cover up the bits on the edge of the plot that you might not necessarily want to be showing. And of course, they've added in water here and there. Again, it just kind of looks swampy to me. Like there's those grasping weeds. And again, the stones being used for the pathway. I don't think there's anything on this side that we missed. You can see just various trees, but it all looks like it blends together. Of course, a lot of that might just be due to the lighting with the rainy bit, and the lighting works to make everything kind of a little bit muted in color, so everything kind of blends better together than having a super bright green tree that looks more suitable to, like, say, Celestion, and then having a very deep green. Now they all just kind of look similar. I wanted to come back up here to get a better shot of the mansion itself, or the manor, whatever you want to call it. I don't remember if we were able to identify everything that they used for this. But you can see there's the bell top stoves, or the little, I don't know what you call them, pinnacles or something. There's lots of layered glass. There's some of the, see if I can hop up on the hoogles here. Whoops, went right over, didn't I? Layered glass. It looks like mattresses for this textured look for, like, the curtains. A lot of the pillars, the same ones that they use for some of the workings for the uh, gazebo in the back. Same way here, it's the same ones. Giant candles there. Now this is actually, I think it's the Spacious Exile House, and they've just kind of remade it. They've just covered up what they don't want showing and built their own house. This is a great way of doing kind of well, being able to utilize the interior space, but getting a different house, a style of house. We've seen some take it as small as just adding a porch onto an existing prefab house, but others really take it to the extreme like this and just cover up everything other than the door, and make it something totally different. But you can see the detail that's gone into it. Just amazing, amazing stuff. Whoops. I'm like the worst at this jumping. Here's another shot. Kind of see again, it's similar to the same setup as the front, just being used for these little balcony bits. Oh, lousy aim. The see the tower back here. Same way with the windows. Just it's unfortunate I can't get up close to show you the detail better. But like look here where you can see the different layers, the details of the hugel ornaments, the fencing here. I guess that's, I don't know, what is that, glass or something? Just look at the crazy amount of stuff. Now, while the exterior can blow your mind, the interior is just as crazy in its detail. There's so much care that went into all these pieces, like the simple little shelf for this display case, the dynamite, the glass, the 2x4s. It looks like an antique carved wood thing. Even the way that they've modified the door here, this isn't how it normally looks, but they've managed to make it match the rest of the decor here. Crazy stuff. You've got another fancy table. It's an upside down display case, and then they've used the legs as the support for the top of the table, and it's just layered glass. Again, we've seen lots of different kind of glass combinations, but um, uh, every time it's different. It's hardly any that look the same. There might be some similarities, but it's always interesting to see the patterns people create using the layered glass. Here we have another little cabinet. Instead of using the Merg dynamite, they just used the Chua pillars. Curved glass on the top. Looks like it's actually, you know, completely enclosed, which is kind of cool. Here we have another lovely table made out of glass. It's using one of the goblets, the drinking goblets, oversized, pushed down, and using that as the base. And then they've just rotated some glass panels to make this little, almost like a sun design. Notice the benches. It's regular benches, and they've just been topped with Chua pillows to change the appearance of the bench. Fireplaces is a big fun thing for a lot of home builders because what house is complete without a fireplace and open hearth? This one again is using Chua pillars, kind of matches some of the furniture here. This is part of one of those stoves. And again, while I typically don't use the prefab homes other than I think my most used one is the bunker house. I love coming into places like this to see how they divide up the space, because this is actually one huge room that you start out with, and they've managed to divvy it up in an interesting way. I mean, you've got this little under the stairs storage space. You know, this would be where like Harry Potter would have his little room. Made this faux door out of 2x4s. Staircase itself, they reconstructed themselves. Lovely little kitchen. You know, nothing too fancy, but you know, you've got these little drawers and things. I can't remember what this was. I want to say it's one of those cabinets, upside down or something, but I'm not for sure really. Could be the bottoms of pillars or something. I really don't remember. But look how neat. Again, when it comes to cabinets and drawers and dressers and things like that, the contrast in colors really helps. We've come across some where it's like a black cabinet and then they have kind of like a gray or black drawers as well, and it's really hard to see. Sometimes that's because of the lighting that they choose inside the house, whether it's interior or exterior, but having that contrast really does help. Now, they could have popped it even more if they'd used like more bright metal knobs, but considering what this is and how it looks, I think they chose okay with the Merg Dynamite toppers for the handles. Let's see, got a little bread basket thing here, just some domes, curved walls, and piles of toast for the bread. The Merg Dynamite's not only being used for handles, but also for hooks for the towels and things. Notice the sconces on the walls. It's I think it's part of a fence, like Falcon or Draken fence, using the end post as the little holder, and put a candle on top of it, and you have a little sconce thing. I love I love those little ideas like that. Awesome little cabinetry here, using some books as part of the drawers, 2x4s from most of the rest, and then of course the framed glass. The handles are Draken cauldrons. Same thing this is, and they're using it for the handles too. Mega table here is 2x4s. Using some of that fencing, again, it's kind of keeping with the theme of some of the things they're using for the other decorations. Merg explosives for the handle holders. And then look at the little dining cart here. They've got the cart itself is made out of pillars for the handles and the joints and the separators here. The panels themselves are travel posters for the little, I don't know, doily or whatever that's going underneath the platter. That's mattresses. The cookies are upside down bowls with, I would suspect, snow clumps for the little icing. The little jello pudding thingy is bananas, I believe, with a mushroom on top. Or no, it's one of those jelly things, I think, from Far Side. For the, I'm not sure what this is. Some kind of, another kind of dessert. It looks like mostly uh, a snow clump and then lots of little snow clumps kind of divvied on it, and then the berries. For the platters and bowl and stuff, I think those are Orin windows. This one's just multiple ones to make that deep bowl, probably to hide the stems of the bananas. But, you know, little details like this, you know, they could have set out a full um, feast or whatever onto the table, and we have seen some do that. I've done that myself, but I thought it was cute that they just put it on here. Bloopy berry cake, could be, I don't know. Look at the banister here. Again, 2x4s and those Merg Dynamite. A lot of pieces, but you know, when it comes to the interior, it's easy to get lost in those details. Notice the chandelier here. If I can get a better look here. It's the leaf windows for the attachment up top. Gear trophies for the green part, I think. And then cauldrons for the bits in between. And then a big cauldron for the bottom. And then notice how they did these here. There's like a plate, a bowl, and just little things that's been added to change it up. Again, carrying those sconces all the way through the house. Here's another little lovely table. This time it's that, I call it the Iron Maiden thing. It's like a Draken dressing cabinet thing. Um, and it's upside down, and they're just using the legs as the base of the table. And then see how they've layered it differently, and it looks like a completely different design. This is reminiscent of the thing that we saw on the outside of the house up top. It's like a fan. You could probably add some details and make this turn into like maybe a peacock look. Um, Maybe add some little bits here and make it look like a flower or a tulip or something. There's a lot of different things you could do with that. Notice they even went through the trouble of adding these little decorations. That's that, I think it's the orange shelf, just the end of it being used for decoration all along the top here. They even use this as a, pretending it's a storage space. And remember the sconces here, they've actually turned it into a little candelabra here. Using, again, it's the end of the fence things. Draken, Falcon, one of those. Just can't remember. Let's go this way first, I guess. So this one is actually a faux door, but they've built it just like they've done the other ones. So you recognize it as a door, but it's actually one of those cabinets. But this one you can open. And again, this is one of those storage rooms, treasure rooms, the kind of thing where you can dump a lot of those items that you can't find a specific place for, or it's not, it's out of season, or just doesn't match anything. This is the way to display it. If it's something that you were proud that you were able to get a hold of, or win, or acquire in some other manner, or just want to, you've done all the detail work that you want, but you want to kind of max out your decor limit, this is the way to do it. I mean, there's Winterfest stuff here. There's Shades Eve. There's odd bits and baubles, just from plushies to weird little thingies. It's an oddball collection. Some of these plants, they're in just bowls, being used as like little hanging pots on the wall. Winterfest wall here, or fencing, I guess, with a little decoration above the door. There's that piece, the one that's being used for the bottom here. It's the same item. Grandfather clock. We've seen a lot of variations, and all of them look amazing. But this is Thara's version. It's multiple layers of the leaf windows. You got the Hugel portrait for the main face of the clock with those ornate pillars. See, this is the one that I think they were using for the stalactites and stuff in the previous. I'm pretty sure it's the same item. It has that same color, and it had that little flaring at the bottom like that. And they just have it enlarged so you don't see the top and the bottom part. But they're using them as the hands for the clock here. Looks like Merg Dynamite for parts of this. Two pillars, there's the gear trophy up inside here for the green and yellow, and this little emblem bit here. The Dominion pendant light. 2x4s. It's a really nice looking, version of a grandfather clock. Probably quite a few pieces just by looking at it. Oops, I think I got stuck. Yeah. One of the bedrooms. So we have a vanity table here, where the girl can look in the mirror, put her makeup on, perfumes. So you can see they got like a little brush here for some of their stuffs. It's basically a bar, the one filled with the bottles, and then they've covered up some of it to make it look like these are like some overhead lights. You got the Chua spotlight, you've got the colorful window, the orange colorful window. And then the base of it is those ornate chests. It's the same one that has like the bank vault looking bit. Um, hey, Maddie. Well, I'm glad you could join, even if it's just lurking. Again, reminder, if you chat, if you're there in the chat and aren't talking, I won't be aware that you're there because I'm not checking the list. But I will be handing out some decor codes after the show to those of you that do say hi in the chat. So if you are lurking, be sure and just at least let me know that you're there so that I can add your name to the list. If I think I only have like 6 codes to give out, so if 6 or fewer say hi, then everybody's getting a code. But if there's more, then I'll do a little random drawing at the end or afterward. But these ornate chests or whatever cabinets, they're the ones that people like to use as bank vaults or wall safes because it has that metal door handle. But they're using it mostly for the topping and the coloring here. Notice they're really big on the wall decorations, you know, as much as they used the orange shelves out here for little accents. And here they're using the leaf window as the accent for this room. Another orange window here for the base of the bed area. And even though these dividers, these metal dividers, don't give off any light, it really seems to brighten the room with them having used them as part of the ceiling, which is weird. The closet bits here, the little walk-in closets, I think they're using the windows with the, oh, what are those things called? The shutters. And just position them in a way so that it looks like the shutters are closed, behaving as the closet doors. Throwing the little, stray sock there. Very cute little idea, using the windows in that fashion. We've seen some use it that way and for cabinets and stuff. Here's the bathroom. The rugs, what I call the butterfly, that's part of the Heart Collection coffee table. You just sink it just far enough where just the blue part is showing. One of the nice things about having not a perfectly flat table, it's actually a raised emblem on it, so it works really nice when you want to hide the table part and just want the little butterfly bit. I've seen some folks use this as the beginnings of ponds, um, uh, placemats for table setting. I've seen them used as doorways even, that kind of thing. For the sink, it's a lot of bowls, even for the mirror here. Merg explosives for the handles. This is apparently it's a control panel they're using there. Everyone's favorite custom thing is the toilet. This is, I think it's the copper Chua sipper thingy. I probably got that in the wrong order. I think this is an oversized Chua cup topped with a bowl for the lid, and then another Chua cup for that little flusher thing. Looks like a hammer end for the toilet paper dispenser. Notice they even put the Merg Dynamite as legs for this little bit here, but look at the cabinet. I love the cabinet. It's simple, but very nice looking. 2x4s mostly. And then this here, the little shelf being used as a pedestal for the plant. It's the same shelf they're using, well, elsewhere, but I don't remember where it was. Anyway, gotta love this stuff. I think these are for the robes. Nice, clean. Again, I love the way they've been able to divide up the house so easily. Did we go in here? Yeah, that was the other one. Okay. So we're ready to go up. So this just that one big house. It's just crazy what all they fit in here. There's another bedroom, a little Oran themed. Look at the canopy for this one. It's got the greenery coming off. These are the Oran fence posts. Just a big Chua pillow for the bed itself. Where I come in. It's a simple house, but I still get lost in it. There's a little library slash office space. The sofa chairs, just Chua pillows. Short, sweet, and simple looking. Another bathroom. This one's got a shower. Similar setup as the other one, just slight differences like here. Same cabinet setup. The shower, basically the same thing. Got a lever switch for the shower head. A little different. I think usually we see other things. Bottle tops for the controllers. Vent, the drainage. Notice the table here. It's two of the tree tables together. Make the little stand. Hey Joey. Yeah, it can get pretty crazy. Crazy. Man, I can't talk this morning. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, really. I've seen so much stuff over the past few years. Another little bedroom. I think this is one of the rare times we actually see the exile fireplace as the exile fireplace. I don't know if I can get back here or not. Just a little bit of storage. Okay, so did we go in here? That's the bathroom, right? Yeah. Just double checking, making sure I don't miss anything. Even though we've seen this place before, I still hate missing stuff. Like this table, I don't think I mentioned that one. This one's, notice that you've got the nautical chairs here with those little octopus bits. Looks to be the same thing here. They've just put several of them together to make those, and then layered glass. Like the backs of the chairs, they've turned them all in together. There's like four of them there, and made the base of the table with it, so that it matches, but it's not. It's something new. Awesome stuff. This, yeah. When it comes to covering up the doors, just be aware that if you get too close, you won't see the bit pop up. You have to kind of back off of it, then you can get out. So yeah, that's again, there's many mansions, many personal residences that I've come across over the past couple of years that have dumbfounded me. But this is probably one of my favorites and more memorable. Again, I was looking for an example of a home that not only went all out in changing how the building looked from the outside, but also just the detail that went on for the interior. Yeah, and that's what's crazy though. You'll come across a house that maybe has a lot of open space and uh, a lot of pieces to it, but it looks like it's, not as compactly occupied. I don't know how to say it better than that. But they still use the 2500. And then you'll come across someone else like this where uh, you're almost for certain that they've used all 2500 because there's just so much going on for the detail of the house and even the landscaping and stuff. And it just flabbergasted me because when I try to do it, it doesn't look as nice and cohesive as theirs. Okay, so the last house for today is actually one of our viewers' homes, Madigan Alex. I've mentioned this many times. I think it was even in the interview that Carmine had with me about houses that inspired me and stuff. And Maddie's place is probably still remains one of my all-time fave plots to visit and refer people to when they're looking for um, uh, examples of just how crazy people can get, how detailed one can go, um, how modifying the landscaping and stuff can dramatically alter the plot and how it looks. It's as if you've come into something totally different. I mean, as many homes as we've visited, it's not uncommon to see the exterior just completely flat, and then you have the house and maybe some added little details like cars or garages or something like that. But when we come into a plot where they've actually altered the the uh, the ground to have different levels and complexity as far as tunnels and cave systems and mountainous areas and lakes and rivers and things, and being able to work that in so seamlessly that it just looks naturally as if it came that way. That to me is probably one of the biggest um, joys for me to come across. So the first time I visited this plot, it left a big impression on me, as far as, especially since landscaping is one of my worst um, things. Coming across a plot like this um, is an eye opener. It's a little intimidating for those like myself that are not very good at it, but it's a great place to come for ideas, inspiration, um, and gives you something, a goal to work towards, to be able to integrate items in such a way that it just looks like it belongs. Again, it's the same way with people that use the fab kits. If they can manage to put in a fab kit and add to it or modify it slightly, or build something that kind of looks like a fab kit and leaves you wondering, is it or isn't it? Did they make it themselves? Or, that to me is a sign of a good builder, because when you almost think it came that way, and it doesn't look like a custom thing, it looks like something that probably should have already been in the game. That to me is a great sign that that person has a very good grasp of how to put things together in a way that you know you think, huh, it just comes that way, and where can I get that item? It would be amazing if we had some kind of a feature where we could have builders put together multi-piece items and then actually be able to give it to someone else as a single item. I would love to have that kind of feature. That would be fun. You know, construct something and then be able to like mesh it together as a single item and give it to someone. I mean, we have Katya's KBT add-on where you can kind of give the sets to people, but it would be nice if we could just get it combined into a single item. That would be pretty fun. So this is called Country Idol. Again, it looks like it's just taken from this a world scene. You know, they just kind of like snapped it up, and you don't see any of the edging of the plot, unless maybe you really kind of go hunting for it, possibly. You do still get the honeycomb barrier, but you can see they've managed to cover up just about everything. I see one little pipe thingy out there, but really it just looks like a little snapshot of a place somewhere in WildStar. They just chunked it up and there it is. It's part of their plot. Um, I think for the majority of the landscaping, they're using the thinker heads, the bottoms of it where the chin is. That's where most of the stone is coming from, and they've used that quite heavily. Um, I think it was among the first plots that I noticed using it quite a lot in such a way as like cliffs. Later, I started seeing it quite a bit in some of the jungle-themed plots where they wanted, because in addition to the stone on the thinker head, there's that part where it has like the hanging moss. A lot of people love that for caves and things, and you'll probably see that later on when we go investigating around. But this is the thinker head, and so is this. This is like the top of it, and that's like the bottom, and just positioned in a way so you don't see the face of that ugly looking ghoul thing. These green clumps here, those are the, I think it's the willow trees, and they're just pushed down, so it looks like mounds of grass bits. Um, but again, the detail here is crazy. So at the very start, see, like this is a couple of thinker heads together, the top of one and the bottom of the other to make this strange little podium thing for the Christmas carolers microphone. They've used a hitching post as their mailbox. Over here you have, I don't remember what this is supposed to be. Like a feeding spot for the horses or something. But look at the construction. I mean, you've got the grasses, of course, but then you have the pillars. Someone could easily use this for a billboard, change it into some sort of a billboard type of thing. Um, I heard they were having trouble with getting alts in. I hope they sort that out because again, I was reading some of the things about that, some of the bugs for the community bits. I'm sad to hear that this one's going to be scrapped. I hope you save the set just in case you want to bring it back later. That sounds pretty crazy, but if anyone can pull it off, Maddie, it's you. Yeah, I heard that something about somebody else has to invite your alts, which sounds weird. You would think they would just be kind of automatically, or that you can automatically do it yourself. So we'll have to see. Over here, you get a sneak peek at a water feature. I think this is the blue light. It's not the lounge one, it's the drinking table. It's the round one, I think. Just based off the coloring here, I think it's a little darker. And I think it's also being used here. That might be the vertical one for the waterfalls. It's a real fun item because it's got that animation and it looks like water motion. And of course, using greenery that actually moves helps that illusion that it's moving water, even though you actually walk on top of it. Not other things we've seen people use for water is glass. Layered glass is a fave. Um, more recently, I think the obsessed one is the upside down exotic silver chalice, and that's because that one actually allows you to kind of go inside the water. It makes it look like you're wading. Uh, but yeah, again, pillars and such for most of this little walkway here. Thinker heads for all of the stone and the mossy green bits you see here. I think for most of the raised elevations here, I think it's the upside down massive umbrella trees. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maddie, but I think this was before the Snowy Hill came out. Uh, so I feel for you in having to obtain a bunch of those upside down trees. Over here we have a little where they've been chopping down the trees. It's one of the butcher blades and then the end or the handle of a sword, and they're using that to create this little wood axe. I think this here is the bottom of a tree. I don't know which one. And then I forget what this is. Is this like a chicken hutch or something? It's using books for the roof, pillars for the sides, I think. And then different, I think this is like the one of the portraits. This is the Oran dresser. I think that's a book. This is the Oran table. This one I think is the yellow Oran dresser thing. I don't know what else. Hey, Siskwy. Just gonna write down some more names. Again, those of you talking in the chat may have a chance at a decor code. This door is a divider, I think, with a hammer for the handle. Oh, beehives. Okay. Books for the handles for each little panel. I'm sure you told me last time we toured, but I can't remember that stuff. I'm horrible at that. Okay, again, it's those blue light lounge tables for the watering. And I think, what is this part here for the overflow? Is that one of those tubes? Not tubes, like a, what do you call it? I'm thinking tubes, but I'm sure it's not that. Like something like one of the tanks, the water tanks or something. Again, thinker heads all along here. For the bridge, it's mostly the pillars, those Oran pillars, and then 2x4s. Yeah, fire extinguisher thingies. I knew it was because it's a different blue, but it works really good as the overflow for the water. Notice you can kind of walk through it. It's weird. Because I think if you size the extinguisher big enough, you can actually go inside it, which is odd. You can see the water feature goes all the way, there's like a start and an end to it. Just kind of meandering around here. What was this? The barn? Yeah, for the Rouse Dowers for their feed. It's mostly decking pieces, some dividers, pillars, and then pillars for the roof as well. Again, all these bits is those thinker heads. How, do you have any idea how many of those heads you used? This bit here, I think, is the celestial root. It's the one with the blue globy things on it. 350, good grief. That's a lot of heads. Again, this is, I think this looks like layered glass, but then having one of those medical cots underneath for the water effect. Be wrong about that though. It may just be another one of those cables. But the base of it is a bowl. And I think the base of this is the lop fireplace thing, is what it looks like anyway. Oh, is it the blue light table too? Well, let me come back. I didn't. I want to finish looking down below first. To see how the moss and stuff, that's all the thinker heads, just mossy bits. It's all part of it. Kind of looks like a dungeon entrance. I like this here, how they left the opening. It's sad that you can't get too close before the honeycomb shows up, but it'd be great if you could get it to not show at all. I know a lot of builders have asked for the ability to turn that off. Even with it remaining as where you can't put anything up there, it still would be fun to turn that off. Now, Maddie and a few other builders have figured out that if you build high enough, if you elevate the ground high enough, you can actually, the barrier only goes up so high. So if you have it high enough, it'll look like there's no barrier at all. I mean, you'll run into the wall, but you won't see the honeycomb appear, which is nice. Again, all thinker heads for all these different bits. Another bridge, a little fancier with the beams. You got the water well here. This is, I want to say this is the base of one of the fireplaces, like the Draken one. This part, I think it's, what is it, one of the Ichthian water post thingies? I know that's the noose. This is one of those pieces that you don't get a hold of very frequently. It's like a rare world drop. If you can't get a hold of the noose, I've seen others use like the sparking wire Some have used like the string from the balloons. Some of them use hanging cables, things like that. If you can get a hold of one of the nooses, then, you know, fantastic, but not everybody is fortunate enough to do that. All right, Bones. Notice the books for the roof again. This is a kind of a continuing theme. You see the books used for that a lot. It helps tie the buildings into each other. Here's a little garden section bit. It's I think it's curved walls or cylinders or something, and then it's the inset with hover part pieces. And then the dirt, I believe, comes from the portable planters. And then they've just planted, you know, specific little vegetables and stuff. Back here you have the orchard. Yeah, I did the same thing, Siskly. And I was like kicking myself going, no. But that's the trouble you get into when you realize something is rare. Then you start hoarding it in your bank because you don't want to actually use it anywhere because you're afraid if you use it on this one, then you'll regret it later. That's why I wish they would make our crates like, you know, everybody has access to it kind of thing. More plants back here. But then you have the building itself. Now, it's mostly books and stone and a little bit of glass works. You can see there's some glass here and some glass back here. I love the construction of this, the archway and everything. Okay, this is like super detailed, so bear with me. You've got hover part pieces, cylinders here, glass. This bit here is the actual tree table, kind of being used as a doily, but cleverly the tree part is hidden by the base. For the cabinet here, it's just hover part pieces and curved walls with, I want to say it's the portrait piece being used for that, but I'm not sure on the handles. For the flooring, if you're wondering about that striped bit, that's the back of the cellar entrance. We showed that last week, I think. One of the buildings we visited, they were actually using it as wallpaper. So the stripes were going all along the wall. And I had mentioned that we've seen it, people using it as the base. I've seen people use it for the ceiling. Um, some, like here, using it as part of the cabinet works. It has that interesting texture, streaky bit. It's like the texture of the piece itself was just stretched, and it made that weird pattern on the bottom. And a lot of people love that for just having something different to look at. For the little tray here, that's the, I think it's the profile portrait, the one with the little guy with the top hat. And then they've covered it with a hover part piece. Use it as a tray for their dry dishes. The sink is a water trough, same thing that you use outside with the horse place. Again, all of this cabinetry is those, the bottoms of that cellar entrance. Okay, Maddie. The refrigerator here, that I believe is the Dominion shelves. It's also referred to as the Imperium shelf, I think. there's a discrepancy between what it's called when it's just in your inventory as you acquire the item, and why is that showing up? And let me just do a reload. And uh, it changes its name once you add it into the crate. So I forget which way it is, but it's like Dominion Shelf or Imperium Shelf. It's a really long thing. A lot of people like to use it as uh, like they'll have it on the wall, and then they'll put like their little collectibles inside it, so it looks like it's encased in resin or something. This is a fun way of using it to make it look like a nice sleek refrigerator. I think the handles are from that body analyzer contraption, the thing that I usually call like a scanner, or looks like the phone booth kind of deal. The shelves here are just hover part pieces. I think it's the edge piece, something edge. Um, Again, part of the window going to the outside. Hover part pieces. That's what a lot of these door frames are, hover part pieces for all the trim. Bathroom, you got the curved glass for the shower. Um, the piping, I want to say is from, honestly don't know what that is. It might just be the edge of a wall, and then they've got a tank here for the handle. This is a cup to a cup. Cover part pieces. This here, the towel rack, I believe that's the handle of the firewood. This one here is the sparking wire inside a couple of cylinders. Toilet is some domes with hover part pieces and Orin window for the lid. Got the Chua cup bottom for the flusher thingy. Here we have a living room space. Uh, Mostly stones for the fireplace. A fence piece for the grating, and hover part pieces for the rest. Same with the couch here. It's Dominion chairs for all of the seating. Notice some of them work, some of them don't, so you might be able to sit, like these here work better than the ones on the bottom. I'm not for positive what this is. I know Maddie told me what it was once before, and I honestly don't remember, but I can't recall what it is, but I know the base of it is hover part pieces. A nice simple library here. Up the stairs, or ramp, not really stairs. Then we have the bedroom area. So got again hover part pieces, foreign wall floors for the walls and such. You get a bird's eye view of the downstairs from here. A little bit of a balcony here to overlook the living room. Triangled up here. Training pillar, okay. Top of the training pillar for that doily looking thing. Okay, so that's one of the abodes here. Oops, I think I'm stuck in the door. Nope, there we go. We go just past that, we come up on that little dome building that we saw from below that I came up this way. That leads down to the little fountain in the cave. Here's some graves. I don't know what's being specifically used for the dirt here. Some have used sandbags, which I don't think that's what this is because I don't see the texture. But there's I'm trying to think what some of the other ones you've used. Sandbags, the grain sacks, the dirt from the portable planters, that kind of stuff is being used for dirt. This, I guess, is like the little church. That's a giant wind chime. Lots of pillars, cover part pieces. See, doubled roof there. All those pillars. It's just so many. Welcome back, Bones. Yeah, Siskwe, that's very true. Um, I think that kind of goes with anything. It's like the silver chalice. As soon as one person used it as a water feature, other people went, "Wow, you know, that's right," and so they started playing around with it themselves. Same way with the thinker heads and how they've been used. I think that goes for any technique or use of an item. It just takes one person to kind of play around with it, and then other people see it, and then it kind of spreads like wildfire. And you know, I know people strive to be the first one to come up with the technique and be able to kind of brag about it, but it's really hard to do these days because you know people are so quick to pick up on the use of certain things. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree, Cheryl. Okay, so we've come up a few levels. Again, these elevations in the land is a bit of a trick. There's a few items in game now that you can use, but originally it was restricted to the massive umbrella tree. It's a tree that the base of it, when you flipped it over, it mirrored whatever ground choice you had chosen for your plot. So if you had sand, it would look like sand. If you had grass, it would look like grass. And that's what you're seeing here. It's an upside down umbrella tree, and we're looking at the base of it from the bottom, but it's mirroring the ground from the original layer of the plot. So that's how you get different elevations. These days, you don't have to rely on just the massive umbrella tree, which, because of its use and utility, it became a very expensive item. Now we have the upside down snowy hills, which behave the same way. If you turn the snowy hill upside down, it mirrors the look of the ground. That one comes straight from the housing vendor. We also have the Protostar Insta Hills. Um, the only thing about using those kind of things like this, the hills or the Protostar Insta Hills, is it doesn't have clutter that comes with it. So if you come across a plot that actually leaves the clutter, the little grasses and weeds and stuff, if they have their plot with the clutter on it and then they use an insta-hill or some other type of uh, elevation like this, that's completely smooth. So it looks out of place, especially if it's the Protostar insta-hills because they blend smoothly and has, you know, a little contour. But you can tell immediately where it starts or stops because the clutter goes away. That's why a lot of builders that use them tend to leave the clutter off and add the grasses and plants like this one um, uh, to better keep it smooth and have it blend easier. It doesn't stand out as much. This looks like it just came as is rather than actually being self-built elevations into this property. So we've finally reached the pinnacle of this little space. And we'll go around the back first. Got a little patio section here. The laundry in the back. Again, all of this landscaping is primarily the thinker heads. Even the stone and all of this lumpy green stuff with the giant mushrooms. It's all thinkerheads. So you can see how there's the starting point where and how up we've come. But look how natural it looks. It's not too overly done with trees. You still get to see a lot of the sky. You know, if you're going for a jungle feel, yeah, you're going to have it pretty crowded and it's going to feel almost claustrophobic with all of the trees and things. But this is very open. It looks very pastoral and pretty. This house up here, again, books for the roofs. Got the Draken fireplace, the Oran pillars. Nice patterns. Reminds me of some of those really old homes here. I'm not sure what's being used for this part. I don't know if it's a maintenance platform or what. Okay, so this kind of has a similar setup to the house that we were in before. You had the little seating area here, the kitchenette over here. This one is the pillars, the ends of the pillars for the bench. Then you have an upside down display case with the glass on top, similar to the table that we saw in Kithara's plot. Just again, it's done slightly differently. So, you know, the idea is similar, but it's not exactly the same. Oh, is it for books for the base of the floor? Okay. For the cabinetry, it's mostly hover part pieces. I think this is one of the shelves. Ship hand blocker, these here are dressers, tops of the dressers. I think this is a portrait of the tree with the staircase there for the little drying rack. Flat metal table for the cabinet here. I don't know if that's supposed to be like the dishwasher or the trash compactor or what. For the couch and fireplace scene here, this is the empty trophy cabinet, I think. Like one or two of them here. The stools inset into the hover part pieces with the curved wall as the back of the sectional or whatever you want to call it. I love how the firewood is stuck in here. Mostly pillar pieces for all of this. For the little capstock, that's not the right word. It is in Flemish, but not English. What is that? The coat rack. There we go. I think it's the exile shelf, and this is one of the files maybe for the mirror, and then a couple of the orange shelves. The same thing that the other builder used for emblems all along the ceiling there. Same thing here. It's just the top and then sideways. Here's that shelf. The dresser here, it's the same thing they're using for the cabinets. Leads to the outside. Again, that butterfly thing, that's that heart-themed coffee table, just sunk down. Yeah, so these are books, I think, and then this is the Draken wall for the floor up here. Lovely little tub made out of a dome. This, I think, is the horn, like really long pole that sits on it. Two of cups, Again, I think the handle is from the firewood, the little basket thing. Pillars, cylinders, lovely toilets, just the Tua cup with a plate for the lid. Um, I think this is the fire, no, not the fire extinguisher, it's the rusty fuel pump, I think, sticking in here. Go back down. I think that was all of this little house here. So now keep in mind, we've seen a lot of stuff on this plot already, and that's just the exterior. Now we need to go to the interior. And that you find, oh, or I kill myself jumping down the thing, uh, into the little passage underneath the barn, creep down, and you come across the um, bunker house entrance. And then you find this lovely little cavey thing. Basically, there's, I think it's the purple rock arches for some of this. Uh, Lots of the Oran pillars for the bridges and the stairs. The water, again, is the Blue Light Lounge stuff. And lots of Oran accents. You've got pillars, you've got windows, lots of the Hugel statues. Here you have a little collection of goodies for the lops. Is it lops or just lop? Maybe it's just lop. Purple pillows layered up for this little hookah lounge thing. Foreign dates for some of this. Lots of bowls for this little greenery area. We've seen some people use this as like the starlight for their ceiling and such. It was before we got this space diorama thing, but I've seen folks use this for stars, um, uh, for both just like a scenery in the back, like from behind a window or something, especially on an interior like a bunker house thing, um, or as the pretend scene from outside of a spaceship's window, but also on paintings and stuff too. You can see the pattern of the pillars. So many pillars. There's a little kitchen area. There's, I think these are the, uh, I think it's just a crate, but it's like not a firework crate. It's the one with the little circle with the slash through it. I forget the name of it. And I think the handles are those from the uh, vintage beer mugs. These handles are the ones from the metal crates, I believe. There's the exotic silver chalice. It's the base, this part here, that people will size up to like gargantuan proportions and use as water. Here we have a little bathroom area, little toilets, a bowl with a window for the lid, like a hole in the ground or something. Here we have a nice little lounging area, bowls for the chandelier, or I guess it's a vent really, and then for the base of the table where the little fireplace is, yellow striped pillows for the cushions. And then I just adore the beds here. There's the sunk in round bed here, being, I guess it's either a dome or a cylinder. It's a yellow pillow for the mattress, sleeping bags, and then just a couple of green pillows. But then they have these little curved hutches for smaller beds. You've got the purple pillows one, you've got the sleeping bag one up here, you have the Chua pillow one here, and then a purple pillow bed. Now the reason this lighting looks, the wall here looks a little weird, that's because of the little night light here. It gives off the weird little leaf shapes, kind of changes it up a little bit so it kind of just plays off of the coloring there. But how adorbs is that? And then the little seating here, that's part of the nautical seat there, but it's turned into a little lounging part. And then you have little little bits here like this one here with the bucket and towel. Just crazy stuff, all I can say. But a nice surprise, you have this little country farmhouse looking thing, and then you come into this little hidey hole and discover cute little lop hideaway. Sure thing, Maddie. Thanks for dropping by. So that is 3 of my favorite plots from over the past couple of years. I know it's not a lot. Boy, I'm starting to lose my voice. But it's just a taste of the near endless uh, capacity for people to express themselves. We've seen all sorts of things from bars and nightclubs and hover park racing tracks and arenas and guild houses, courthouses, libraries, hospitals, clinics, mad lab scientists things, all the sorts of spaceports, full-blown spaceships, um, just anything you can think up, you can build. And that's, the amazing possibilities that WildStar's housing offers. And I hope that with this little trek back into some of my faves, that it will again inspire folks to kind of test their limits. If you get an item, don't look at the item just as it is. Resize it, twirl it around, look what it looks like upside down, or is there one little feature on it that maybe you think you could use for something else, and play around with the combinations. Don't be worried about maybe the first time you make it, it doesn't work out quite exactly what you want. There's lots of sites out there. They're not fully complete, but there's a lot of helpful resource sites that will give you previews of a lot of the items. There's at least a few player homes that have been used as uh, kind of like window shopping. They have all of the items on display. I think for Jabbit or for EU side, that would be Kathleen. Um, uh, they have a plot that's basically got every item that's available so that you can see it before you purchase it or otherwise obtain it to see if it's something you think you can work with. Um, but yeah, just really, I wanted to give a very narrow peek at the possibilities, and these were some of the best or more memorable homes that I could think of that we visited over the last 2 years. Again, it's been a pleasure uh, to share this with not just seasoned builders but beginner builders as well, people that haven't even started to play the game yet, um, that feel like maybe the housing will draw them in. I appreciate all of your guys' support over these last couple of years, and hope that we can continue to bring you uh, tours in the future. Again, we do have the community housing that's just starting to get tested on the PTR. They decided to open up a little bit sooner than it's actually going to come out, to give us a chance to kind of help them iron out the wrinkles. So if you haven't checked it out yet on the PTR and are planning to, you might want to do that soon. I don't know how long they plan to have it up on the PTR. If it happens to be up by next week, we may visit it on the stream next Wednesday. But again, I'm not sure how long they plan to have it available, but should be exciting. I don't know how it's going to work as far as the tours goes. Maybe I'll just pick a community each week and then visit that, because I think it's like 5 plots that get joined together. So it'd be like visiting 5 houses at once. Um, but we'll see. It may take a while before we see a full community completed, because some people can spend, literally months putting together a single plot. So if it's going to expand to the extent of 5 plots worth of space, then I can imagine it might take a little while. I know there have been some builders that have worked in the mindset of joining their plots eventually together, of like their alts or something, but being able to smoothly seam them together might take a little extra effort in trying to get them to match like they intend. So I suspect there's going to be a lot that are just going to start from scratch and say, hey, I'm going to have to rework this completely, including Maddie's place. Maddie's already said that they will be wiping this one out. So if you haven't seen this one up close, same goes for any of the others that we've toured in the past. Now's your chance to do that. Honestly, Flood, I'm not sure. I've seen some screenshots and read some comments about how, like, say you've got an oversized item on one plot, that it bleeds off onto the others. But I have no idea how that works. Uh, it seemed to me that they were still kind of divided, but I haven't seen it myself. I'm hoping to maybe get in there sometime between now and next week to at least get a little bit of a peek. But I know that there was some kind of a glitch at the moment, or I don't know if it's a glitch, but something about someone could place something in the community plot and it would register as being placed in everybody's individual plot. So yeah, I think the community gets like 4,000 limit or something, and it counted for everybody's individual bit. It's just weird. So I think there's still a lot of kinks to be worked out. Um, just like they were talking about how we have the little bracketry on the edge of the plot, like you can see the piping there. Apparently those for the community one are like huge. So there's a lot of people asking them to, all right, Siskwe, see you later. Asking them to size that down a bit. So I think there's going to be a lot of things that are still going to be worked out. Same way with like inviting alts. Apparently that's problematic at the moment. So if you wanted to set up a community with, your main and 4 of your alts, I don't think that's possible as yet, so we'll see. But now's your chance, if you want to be able to help zero in on those problems or offer up your advice or suggestions, or let them know what they are doing right, not just what they're doing wrong, but what they're doing right. Then this is your chance to hop on the PTR and give them some feedback in the PTR forums. They have a special um, community bugs thread in the bug section, so that's handy. And of course, there's some other discussion threads talking about more specific things that are uh, being looked at. So yeah, if you get a chance to do that, that would be helpful. Um, I know there's been some crashing issues, and they've already warned that, if you're going to zone into a community where the plots are heavily uh, decorated, it might bog things down and might crash. So, we already have folks that will max out to the 2500 and someone will come visit and crash because their computer can't handle it. So it may become an issue, more so with the community. So we'll have to see. I hope it goes smoothly though. Okay, so thank you again for those that visited. I got a list of about 8 names from those that I could see chatting in the chat box. So I will be going through and doing some random drawings after we shut down. And so if you receive a message from me, it will probably be in regards to getting a code from that. Again, thank you guys for being here today and any other day that you happen to drop by. Again, we do this every Wednesday. This was just kind of a recap, a kind of a thinking back on things. Uh, as I said, this is my 100th house tour broadcast, so it's kind of a big milestone. We've been streaming for 2 years now. Maybe for some it seems like forever, but it seems like only yesterday that it started. So it's pretty exciting to think that we visited 360 homes to date. Um, it's just an outrageous number, and to think that there's probably that many and more that we haven't seen yet. So it's exciting to know that even with all of the places we've been and all of the things we've seen, there's still so many to show you guys. So I hope that if nothing else, you can join us some other time when we go up to tour some other homes. I think we'll be back on Entity next week, since we're basically on Javit right now. And it's not that there was anything against any of the NA builders. It's just I tended to focus most of my interest on EU for the better part of my streaming career. So that's where my memories are stuck. So again, if I didn't mention your place or anything, it's not a slight in the least. There's been some extraordinary builders, um, and there was a few actually that I had wanted to show today, but they've either went private or have completely like are in the process of rebuilding. So I wasn't comfortable on showing or mentioning those, but uh, yeah, it's just I don't think I can list on all my fingers how many builders that have just been outstanding, that have helped inspire the rest of us and each other. So thank you again to all of you for putting your works together and opening them up to the public so that others can enjoy your work. Um, and sharing your tips and your tricks. I know some builders like to kind of covet their secrets, but I think for the most part, most of us are pretty flexible and are willing to share how we did something to help someone else. So I appreciate that. Um, so thank you guys. Hope you had a good time today, and have a great week. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.